This is really happening. The documentary above Majestic is mediocre. I'm hoping it will help people to humanize me, not just for extraterrestrial or terrestrial reasons, but also from the position of king, which is mine, becoming mine, mine and becoming mine. There's different aspects of it, of the position. Like king of the Illuminati is very different from being king of England, or it's unfortunate that Christians are awaiting a king. I just wish that there was not that as well, so there wasn't any confusion. And it's interesting because of the concept of what are the obligations of a king historically. And there's this one documentary in particular that I keep coming across on YouTube. And there's no need to pull it up right now, which I almost just did, which would have been me fumbling with the remote for a minute to search for 5 minutes for a video that I would have had to watch for 15 minutes before I got to a part that I wanted to show you at all. So, but the part that I want to show you is about migration. Migration is something that humans used to do a long time ago when we were purely tribal, before there was even agriculture having a name or being a profession. Literally that old. It's a long time ago. But migration as unarmed or armed invaders of lands, this has been going on since agriculture. And Caesar, I mean, he's like the smartest. He's really, really smart. He's one of the most devious, clever leaders in history. If there was one man historically that I would like, and I can't make any claim as to having been him in a previous life. I don't remember. Andy kind of freaks me out because of just how devious he really is. Clever too. I mean, and brave. So I'm going to go ahead and assume I'm not related to him. But, you know, then again, some of the movies I've seen about him are possibly embellished. I don't know. But he's certainly a very strong character historically. But that was something that his people dealt with. The Gauls were being invaded by the nation that just decided, oh, we're just going to move our entire nation into their, it's like all of Mexico or Honduras moving into Texas, and being dispersed. And what they did was they invaded Gaul and they just destroyed everything as they went, an army travels on its stomach. Well, so does everyone else, including immigrants, refugees. Um, and strangely, I mean, it was like every man, woman, and child would like take up arms and invade Gaul. It was strange, but this wasn't unheard of. It's not unheard of in history for everyone to, like an entire nation, to invade another nation. Like the entire nation. Everyone. You don't hear of it because if you heard of it, then you would be like, there's how many illegal immigrants in America? That's a problem. You know, or there's how many in Sweden, and what happened to the crime and the rape statistics since they started letting in these primitive cultured invaders. And all these invaders are men of fighting age. I don't know if they ate the women and children or if they sold them to the Jewish slavers before, you know, or the Catholics, or, you know, the Muslim mafia, so they could get passage from wherever they came from whence they came, and get transported to the European, Western, or Caucasian, European white nation that they ended up invading with bad intentions. And being so entitled and drunk on the stupidity of the liberal mindset of the suicide of a superpower, and like Obama's legacy being in America brought down to the level of the rest of the world. Well, I'm having some personal feelings about our President Trump, who I've endorsed and fought for pretty friggin' actively for several years, because it was necessary for our nation, and additionally necessary for our race. And our race is our family, is my family. My race is my family. You don't mess with my family. I see you messing with my family out in Texas, in Wyoming, and I'm thinking about pushing you into the ocean with a spear. Yeah, them too. This is the people call it the game. They say the game of life, the game of war. And let's talk about war real quick. Who finances war? We know the invasion of America was funded by liberals. The Republicans got some cheap labor, so they let it happen too. They're all guilty, except for Trump. We're all guilty. Everyone who was in political office when Obama was installed as president, they're all guilty of treason and sedition. And I'd like to see anyone make an argument saying that they're not guilty of high crimes against our nation. And I believe that they would fail to do so in the face of the facts. I'm sure they would make some kind of a defense based on, you know, they can't even say they're not guilty. They would just say it had something to do with globalism. You know? So they don't have any defense. They're all guilty. And the penalty for treason is death. I was talking with a friend of mine from years ago. The last bit of normalcy in my life was hands-on healing, and I ran a group on Facebook, and she was the assistant running the page with me. She was nice. I liked her. I still do. And I look back at that period of time, maybe 2013, 2014, maybe, as the transition between, hi, I'm Jonathan George, and there's still a slim chance that I'm going to have a life, which is normal, and I did try. God knows. But it was the transition between duty calls and my last hope for having a regular life. So I kind of look back on it fondly now. Feels like so long ago. But I explained to her a little bit about the situation, which helped me to understand too that whether I'm legally married to Ella or we were just courting during that period of time, either way it was one or both of those. It actually explains a lot for me in the last couple of weeks. Man, you're right, my love. They have no mercy. You don't either, though. I still love you. And no, I don't plan on drifting off and talking to my wife or any goddess like that once things are squared away. I may, though. It's fun to act like the king is mad when the king has the responsibility of God on earth. People don't like to think about actual responsibility. They like to think about gold. He gets a gold crown? That's not fair. I don't reckon you'll see me wearing it very often. What if I like it, though? Then you'll see me wearing it, that's right. But she kind of asked, she said, what are you going to do with it? Referencing, and I'm not going to be mentioning people's names anymore. The complexity of my situation just turned everything inside out pretty severely for me for a while. Biblical, yeah. Well, if the game's over, then this must be happening soon. So I'm getting ready to ready to rock, but it's a good question. The defense of the people is the first priority, and knowing who the enemies are of your people in the broader and more specific contexts. Who's the enemies of your nation, your regions, anywhere over which you have domain. And if this all turns out to be the most insidious and evil psychological warfare declared against an individual in the history of the world, then just know that I sat here before you on this day knowing that people have made billions and billions of dollars off of myself, my teaching, and that with that knowledge I've altered the course of human history. So whether my Ella is the reincarnation of Mary of Magdala, also known as Mary Magdalene, or not, it's fine. Ella does deserve faithful. Couldn't imagine cheating on her. That would be so petty. Undignified. I've been pretty undignified lately. But it's just knowing that I've gone all in over and over and over and over again. I don't have there's nowhere to retreat to. There's nothing that anyone would call a normal life that I'll ever have. I'm not being allowed to finish my book, which was literally my last way to make a living, to provide for myself or my family, my daughter. I'm not being allowed to finish it. It disappeared off my phone. I don't have a computer. It disappeared off my phone. And I had done a lot of work on it, and I was happy with it. And then I was told, some people don't want you to finish that book. And the book disappeared. I can edit it again. I had edited 50 pages. 55 pages out of 300. And I'd added 3,000 words in 2 days. And then I was told people weren't going to let me finish the book, and the book literally vanished. So I'm all in to be your loving and ruthless for you. And just help. It's not all about the money and the war. It's about education. It's about people living again, feeling happy, living a life that feels like being alive. And that's what I want. And that's what I want for you.